Hey y'all, I'm going to walk you through this painting of a horse. I'm going to do this in the color study style, essentially just painting as quickly as possible, getting in the essential features, not worrying about hyper-realistic detail or refined blending. I started with a pencil sketch of a horse on this canvas panel. I didn't get a good video take of that, but if you want to learn how to draw the horse, I'll put up the beginner's video so you can learn how to do that. First of all, I'm just going to lay in the shadows using raw umber and burnt sienna. I'm not worrying about edges or anything, I'm just getting in patches of color here. I was getting a glare there, so I changed the lighting. Working in the halftones with burnt sienna and white. And I'm always using the same pile of paint here. I started with the raw umber, added some burnt sienna, then I added more, then I added some white. Now I'm getting in the highlights. Again, just adding white to that pile of paint. I'm going to start getting in the background. This is ultramarine blue and white. All I'm thinking about here is coverage, not thinking about details. This whole background's going to be out of focus. All right, now I'm going to work in some distant mountains, and this is just ultramarine blue with less white in it. Moving on to distant green, this is ultramarine blue, azo yellow, white, and a little bit of raw umber to dull it. This is a purer green. This is phthalo blue and azo yellow with white. And for all of this, I'm using titanium white. I'm not using any other kind of whites. All right, now this is just yellow, ochre, and white. Getting in the foreground here. And now here, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I know the horse is going to be running through water, but that isn't in the reference photo I'm using, so I don't know what colors to use. I'm using ultramarine, blue, quin red, and white. I can always fix this color later. The whole thing is just lay in your colors as quick as possible, and then you can work into them wet and wet to color correct them. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just doing some blending. The more you blend your color areas together, the more far away they're going to look, the more out of focus. Getting in a little bit of detail into those distant hills, and now I am refining the colors of the horse. I've already got a lot of color down, so I just need to blend the intermediate areas, darken certain places, lighten certain places. Now I'm working in some black to get those darkest areas and make those pop a little bit. I'm using Chromatic Black by Gamblin. Blending the highlights into the midtones. I'm essentially doing everything with the same brush. It's all the same color with different areas of white, so I can just wipe off the brush and use it for the lights and the darks. Now I'm getting in some details in the face and the legs. I really wanted the joints of the legs to look accurate, so I'm giving extra attention to them. I might have made the legs a little bit too long, but that's okay. It just makes it easier for me to see what I'm doing. Now, since I'm painting over areas where there's already paint on the canvas, I'm using the wet and wet rule of using a thicker paint on top. Thicker paint will sit on top of the paint that's already there. A thinner paint will just mix with it and blend. And that's what I'm doing down here. I'm using a thinner paint, a grayish brown, to mix in with the purple that I already have there, getting in those highlights and splashes to sell the illusion of water. So that's it. Thanks for painting along with me, everyone. I think this little guy turned out pretty good. Again, this is the color study method, what I call the color study method. Just getting as much information down as fast as you can. This is great for when you're painting outside and you want to get an impression of a lighting situation very quickly. For me, one of the most valuable things about it is mixing colors. When you give yourself a time limit and you say, I'm going to do this very fast, put some colors on your palette and do what you can with them. It's an invaluable lesson in color mixing. Thanks again. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, like and subscribe, ring the bell so that you'll be notified about my next video.